G'day and welcome to Ton's Babylon. This is where I just sit around and babble on about whatever's rattling around in my head. Today's topic is ghosts. My family has a bit of a history of ghosts. When I was young, my stepsister Sandra was renting a unit around Newtown, around that area somewhere in a city. She wanted to leave there because there was a poltergeist. And she reckons it used to pull on her dressing gown and shit like that. And she was shit scared and she wanted to move out, but she was afraid to go back alone. So she got mum and dad and me and Vic. Can't remember if the other boys were there, but we went down there to look after her while she got all of her shit and got out of there. So that was the first time that a family member that I know of had an interaction with the fucking unknown or the supernatural, whatever the fuck they call it. Anyway, another time, Mum told me a story which made me think she was a bit of a white witch, like a good type. She reckons when they were living at Cambridge Park, when it was all just farms and there was like no buses or anything, she reckons there was one of the neighbours was trying to hit on Dad. And she didn't give a shit if Mum was around or not. She used to flirt with him all the time. And Mum got the shits with it and she fucking put a curse on her. And a very short time later, that woman went totally blind. So she couldn't look at Dad anymore. Growing up in my parents' house when they moved to Parker Street in Penrith, we used to hear footsteps going up and down the hallway all night. No one was out of bed. We could hear footsteps. Mum learnt how to do the Ouija board, and she used to contact the dead relatives and shit. Yeah, she used to get the winners for horse races and so on. And then not only did we have the footsteps, we started hearing doors slam, but really loudly when there was no wind at all, and there was no one around to slam it. And finally, the evil spirit in the glass, it leaped off the table and smashed the glass against the wall, smashing the glass everywhere. After that, Mum gave up the Ouija board. Anyway, that's the history of the supernatural unknown or whatever in my past. When I joined the railways, I was a safety guy, doing flagging for the trains and putting detonators on the tracks and all that stuff. Anyway, on the outskirts of Campbelltown, there's a place that's called Fisher's Ghost Creek. How it got its name, like I think it was 1826 I think it was. A guy named Fred Fisher, he was a farmer. Someone killed him, I think to get his property or to get his livestock or whatever. And he buried him down by the side of the creek. A short while after that, people started seeing his ghost standing on the bridge going across the creek. And a few more people seen it, and then the sergeant or a constable or some fucking thing saw his ghost. And every time someone saw it, he'd be pointing down to the creek at a certain spot. They decided to fucking dig all around the side of the creek where he was pointing to. Lo and behold, they found his bloody dead body in there. Therefore, it was named Fisher's Ghost Creek. Anyway, when was it? I think it was 1991, I think, around that time. And I was doing safety work for the railways, and they had all the power was out between there and Campbelltown. All the power was out. They were redoing the electric shit, new wires and all that crap. So what I had to do at the level crossing, just in front of the bridge, I had to tie the gates up vertically. Had to tie them up, and then whenever a train was coming, I had to stand in the middle of the road with a red flag to stop the traffic from going. Yeah, so I was there alone, all day. I was there for the whole week. But around the Tuesday or Wednesday, there was like an hour between trains sometimes, and I was sitting in the car reading the paper, and I saw a guy coming out of the creek. He looked like a hippie or something, and he was pretty dirty, and he was like slowly coming out of the creek like a swamp monster. Anyway, a few seconds later, a woman with him come up from behind him, coming out of the creek, and every 4 or 5 steps she'd take, she'd fucking fall down. She'd get back up, and then she'd keep going, and then she'd fall down again. And each time she fell down, like she'd get mud on her hands, and then she'd like touch her face, and she had fucking mud everywhere. And I'm watching them, and I think, fuck me, Dad, this is weird. What were they doing down there? I thought, well, they must have been having a root or taking some drugs or something. Anyway, how far would it have been? It would have been like, I don't know, 15, 20 metres in front of me. Like I could see them clearly. And from the time I saw them coming out of the creek to the time that they walked over to the bridge and got onto the bridge, probably about, I don't know, 15 minutes would have passed with the girl falling down and getting up and falling down. Anyway, I was like, fuck, that's weird. And they put their thumb out and started hitchhiking. Got back to the newspaper, I'm reading the newspaper, looked back over, they're fucking gone. I thought, oh, someone must have picked them up. Anyway, the following Sunday I was off work and I was sitting at home reading the newspaper. The middle 2 pages, there was a spread on missing backpackers. And I was looking at the photos and like reading where they're from and how old they were, last time they were seen where, all that crap. Lo and behold, I saw the guy and the girl that come out of the creek. Clear as day, I saw their faces. Bit of mud on them, but that's the pair that I saw coming out of the creek on middle of last week. I got on the phone, fucking rang up Crime Stoppers. And I said, yeah, I was out near Campbelltown last Tuesday or Wednesday, and I saw these 2 people that are in the missing backpackers thing in the newspaper. And I told him it was, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, Gabor Nuga Burma or something. And the girl's name was Anja Habschied. They were from Germany. So, like, I let the Crime Stoppers know that I said, oh, yeah, they're alive still. I saw them last week, and they were heading that way on this road, from Fisher's Ghost Creek. The Crime Stopper bloke on the phone thanked me, and, like, said if there's any more things they got to ask me, they'll get back to me, and hung up. And then, how long, about maybe a year later, this detective from the homicide squad called me up. And he says, oh, about a year ago you called Crime Stoppers and you reported you saw these 2 people. And I said, yeah, any news? And he said, yeah, we found their bodies. And I said, oh, Jesus Christ. He said, yeah, their bodies were found in Belangolo State Forest, but the problem that we've got is they were dead for a year before you claimed to have seen them. I said, bloody hell, that's fucking weird. I said, I don't know what to say, can't explain it. He goes, okay, we'll get back to you if we need to ask you anything else, and hung up. And then I was sitting there thinking, fuck me, Dad, that's a fucking weird thing to happen, eh? And then it all clicked, it all fucking fell into place. I was at Fisher's Ghost Creek, right? Now, Fisher's Ghost story was like 1800s. In modern times, in 1987, a lot of people saw the ghost again. So this was like, I saw those people, or the ghosts, or whatever the fuck they were, I saw them 4 years after there was a big fucking ghost sighting at Fisher's Ghost Creek. So I thought, fuck me dead. Fisher's Ghost Creek, recent sightings of the ghost, and then they were hitchhiking on the road that led to Belangolo State Forest. And Fred Fisher, he was pointing down to the creek where his body was. And these backpackers were pointing towards Belangolo State Forest, where their bodies were. Fuck me, I thought. Unbelievable. Anyway, that's all the fucking ghost stories I got to tell you today. So I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, give us a like and a share and a subscribe. And come back again when I've got some more crazy shit to tell you. Okay. Cheerio.